Hello there, it's Ruth here at Artful Stampin', and today I'm bringing you some cards made with the beautiful Gingham Gala suite. So this is part of the Stamping Sunday blog hop, so do head to my blog, the link is below, and see the links to all the other demonstrators that are taking part in this blog hop. So this suite consists of a stamp set, punch, papers and some various other embellishments. The gingham papers are really gorgeous. They have some really beautiful subtle colours and are great for springtime cards. And so for this set of cards I'm going to be using white, smoky slate and basic grey, and also the yellow gingham. So the aim of this video is to show you how, if you have limited supplies, or if you have a few supplies, or if you have lots of supplies, you can make some really beautiful cards. So as part of the suite there are also some really pretty sequins. I didn't end up using any in this one because although there are yellow sequins in this pack, I've been using them for a class, so didn't have them to hand. So the first card that I'm making is with the smoky slate cardstock, and I just cut myself a base for that. And this card is going to be single layered. It's going to consist of stamping, and that's pretty much it. So here I'm using the Daffodil Delight and using the solid image, which is designed to be used with the other stamps to be a sort of colour-in or filler element, but here I'm using it to create a soft background. So I'm using the large and the small butterflies here. Now the large one, as you saw, came in two parts, so you have to line them up yourself. So then I use the smoky slate, and because the smoky slate does actually look quite dark against the smoky slate card, I decided to stamp it off and create a real soft look. So once I had done that, I then decided I wanted to put a sentiment on it, and then also use a stamp that I've actually done some stamp surgery on, because the stamp sets come, or the butterflies come in pairs, so that when you want to punch them out you can punch them out in one go. However, there are times where I like to use them separately, so I've just cut it. And so here you can see the contrast of that basic grey, this lovely dark grey, against those soft background colours. So all the supplies that you see me use are available from Stampin' Up via my shop at artfulstampin.co.uk. So if you would like to purchase any of these products, just head over there and pop them into your basket. It's really quite a quick and easy process. You can also earn a little gift off me as well if you'd like to, by using my current host code. So again, if you head to my website you can grab that off there. So for the second card I'm using the Gingham 6x6 paper, the yellow one, and I decided to stamp 3 different butterflies, the large one, onto these. And as you can see, I'm just inking up the large butterfly so that I don't waste paper. I decided also to colour them in a little bit using that solid block stamp. And again I stamped off because the smoky slate was a little bit too dark for what I wanted it to do. So this technique is called stamping off, and you can use it to great effect. If you've got limited stamp sets, it's really useful to expand the look of the stamps and just make them more versatile. So here I stamped off for some portions, or stamped again rather, to create a lighter effect. Then I cut the paper up into a strip so that again I wasn't going to be wasting paper by punching out butterflies I wasn't going to be using. So for the background I'm stamping with the basic grey onto the basic grey cardstock, and just putting butterflies down the sides. Then I decided I wanted to use dimensionals to give it a more 3D element, and here you can see how pretty and what a lovely contrast the yellow is against the dark grey. So before sticking them down, I made sure that I marked where I wanted the antenna to go, because part of this stamp set does have some antenna you can use to match with the butterflies. As there wasn't any space on the front of the card, I put the sentiment on the inside, and in hindsight I would have liked to have done maybe a white layer of cardstock on the inside to make it easier to write a sentiment. Not everybody has white gel pens or chalk pens, so sometimes it's helpful to put a white layer on the inside. So for my final card, I decided to really step it up and do this with multiple layers. And so I created a basic grey card base and had a smoky slate matting layer, and then cut some Whisper White cardstock to fit onto that. So the largest area to start off with was 14.5 centimetres by 10.5, and then I went down in half centimetre increments. So here I'm cutting the gingham paper into 3x3 squares, 3 inches by 3 inches, and then cutting them into triangles because I want to create some paper tubes to create some dimension to my card. And I just grabbed a spare knitting needle that I had and wrapped the paper around it and glued it into place. It's a really simple process, a little bit fiddly to get started, the paper rolling, but you soon get used to it and the effect is really nice. So I decided to create a bit of a grungy background using the Stampin' Right markers. So I took the lid off the brush tip and flicked it against the inside of the pen lid, and here you can see it creates a really lovely effect by creating these splatters across the page. To make it easier to adhere the 3 tubes or rolls of paper, I just wrapped them up with a scrap piece of the gingham paper. Now I managed to get 2 cards out of 1 sheet of the 6x6, which I was quite pleased about. It goes to show you don't need a lot to have quite an effective look. So the spare little triangle that I had left, I realised I could stamp and punch out some butterflies from that. So that's what I went ahead and did, and when I was punching them out I then realised that that large butterfly was taking a little nick out of the bottom of the small butterfly. So you'll see later how I cover that up. So I wanted one of the butterflies to be the focal point of this card, and I managed to squeeze that butterfly into what was remaining. So then I stamped with the Daffodil Delight some more butterflies as a bit of a background. Now, as part of this suite, there is some really lovely white flax ribbon, and you can take it apart to create these lovely threads. And if I had some left, I've loved it so much that I've used it all. If I had some left, I would have put some of that ribbon or thread underneath those tubes before I stuck it down. So here I'm inking up the words that I cut out. I stamped that long sentiment and then cut up the words because I wanted it to go down my card rather than across. And then I decided to grunge up the cardstock or the card even more and just stroked it through my ink pad to create that yellow border. So this is the butterfly that's got the little nick out of it, and so I decided to stick it down with a dimensional and then make sure that the second butterfly just covers over that little clip that I made of that butterfly. So once that was all in place, I was able to place the sentiment down. And then I decided I wanted to grunge up the edges even further, so just use my hands and my nails to scrape and to tear and to tug at the cardstock to just distress it a bit. Then, because I had those tiny little pieces of yellow gingham left, which I really wasn't going to do anything with, I decided to stick those just behind some of the larger tears that I made in the cardstock, to have them as little elements of colour peeking through. And it almost makes it look as if I've put a whole sheet of paper underneath there, but I haven't. So that's a good little tip if you have some scraps lying about that you don't know what to do with. Just use them in your more distressed cards. So as you can see, they just layer up really beautifully, and I ended up using some of the scrap bits from the ends of my dimensionals to create some more dimension to the card. So if you've liked what you see, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's plenty of other videos on here to keep you inspired. And of course, please pop to the blog to see all the other links for the other demonstrators who have taken part in this blog hop. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Enjoy. Bye.